Boy, oh boy, do I have a treat for you guys today. In today's video, we're going to only focus on one specific incident because there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of confusion going on about the origins of this clip, what it relates to, where it comes to, and so on. But it's a real fascinating clip. Like, it blew my mind. When I saw it, I had to do a lot of research and dig into it to really understand what it is, where it comes from. But trust me, by the end of this video, I'm going to debunk it. And I'm going to reliably debunk it. And you're going to know where that specific clip comes from and what it is. Now, the case that I want to talk about that allegedly links to this clip is the case of Xiaoshan Airport, because in 2010, an unidentified object was spotted over the airport and it shut down the operation of that airport. Flights had to be delayed. It was witnessed by civilian people, by passengers, by aircraft personnel, by people who work at the airport. So it's a huge case, and you can hardly say nothing happened there, right? Because, I mean, the airport was shut down. Now, in all fairness, it has to be said that airports around the world are known for slightly overreacting to potentially non-existing security threats, okay? If there's any indication of anything that is not identifiable over an airport, they're shutting the operation down because we're not taking any risks here, okay? So that the airport was shut down in itself is not really evidence for anything. But let's look at the clip in question first that is always linked to this airport shutdown. And this is the sharpest version I could find. Now check this out. Here we see this elongated stripe. It has no sound. The video has no sound, okay? But it's like an elongated cigar-shaped stripe of light that sits in the sky. It has these iconic lights sitting right above it. And then there are two other bigger lights and a small one. And the fascinating part, because this clip really has it all, right? You can see the small light like zipping around irrationally, accelerating, decelerating, seemingly circling, orbiting around one of the other lights. I mean, just look at it now, right? Like, I think there's a scene now where it kind of really shoots over to the other, there it is, right? To the cigar-shaped light. So it zips back and forth. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, okay, so assuming, that's what people claim, that this is the original footage that someone recorded of this object that shut down this airport, that's fascinating stuff, right? So many people have seen it. Surely that's very compelling evidence that can't be debunked. Also love how that stripe of light just shoots down these clearly controlled beams of light down towards the Earth. Now, this is a fairly long clip. It's 1.5 minutes altogether. I'll link this down in the description so you can go check it out yourself in full length if you like to. This clip, because it's so powerful and allegedly it has been linked to the airport in China shutting down, people are putting it into videos like this one. Now, let's take a look.
There
was an unknown object seen in the skies over the airport, so according to our regulations, we had to close the airspace. Aircraft movements were suspended from 8:45 p.m. to 9:41 p.m.
Airport staff say the first reports of the UFO came in just after 8 p.m. from both air traffic controllers and civilians.
So this video makes it look like all these images that we see in the beginning, right? Like all these stills are actually part of this incident, right? Because it looks very similar than what we just looked at. However, that is not correct. Whoever put this video together, and I don't think it's like an official ABC video or anything like that, just someone put it together. These are completely separate images from separate incidences. And then afterwards, he actually switches to the footage we just looked at and presents that footage as part of the bigger picture, right? All of this is part of the Xiaoshan Airport incident. This is terrible quality, by the way. But then by the end of this clip, he edits in another piece of footage, again, making it look like this is all part of this one big incident at this airport that shut it down. And look at all the different camera angles we're getting. But this is unrelated footage as well. This is a different piece of footage and was not recorded in the same space. And let me just say, like the way it zips off into the sky, dude, it triggers all my CGI triggers. You know, like this is clearly CGI. It's not real. So to be honest, the footage in the end that we see here, I don't even need to debunk this because it's just complete garbage. It's clearly CGI. Someone made this. But this footage is more interesting. And that's why this footage has really made the rounds and even spawned some ABC articles, right? Here's an article that reads, UFO in China sky prompts investigation. An unidentified flying object forced the airport to cease operation on July 7th. Fueling speculation further, Hangzhou residents released photos taken in the afternoon before this incident happened of a hovering object bathed in golden light and exhibiting a comet-like tail. Less than an hour before the airport shutdown, residents said they also saw a flying object emitting red and white rays of light. However, the photos taken by Hangzhou residents may be unrelated to the UFO that shut down the airport. According to Hangzhou meteorological authorities, residents in the afternoon probably saw a light reflection of a plane. Beijing's planetarium curator Zhu Xing told Xinhao, which is a news agency I believe, that the object looks like a plane shining its strobe lamps. Okay, even in this article they're putting doubt on the fact that these residents took pictures of alleged unidentified flying objects on the same day and clarifying that they're most likely they've been airplanes. Okay, at least the photos they took. But this footage really was picked up across the board by everyone and everyone just ran with it. Here's the footage of the airport shutting down UFO. Okay, so here's another example of a Chinese news report that ran and they showing the same footage saying, you know, the airport was shut down and here's what caused it. And then they interview even people. So everyone really links this specific footage with the airport in China, in Hangzhou, shutting down. And then there are other reports like this one where they title, wow, possible UFO seen near Wuhan, China. Okay, like Wuhan is geographically not even close to Hangzhou. Those two places are like really far apart. For some reason, they mirrored the footage for this particular incident, but maybe it's like, yeah, bro, if we mirror the footage, it's suddenly a new incident. I don't know what the logic behind it is. However, there's a really, really interesting point to this specific footage, because if you look at how this UFO looks, okay, it's a long stripe with the lights above it. And we spoke about this on this channel before. This is exactly how helicopters with a searchlight underneath look when they are photographed at night with a long exposure. Here's a photo of a helicopter with a searchlight photographed at night with long exposure. The searchlight stretches out into this long cigar-shaped stretch of light and extends the beam of light that comes down and turns it into something that looks exactly like what we see in this footage. Here's another example, right? Again, this is a confirmed helicopter. The reason why you have the stripe with the light sitting above it is because that's the tail light of the helicopter. And obviously the searchlight is underneath, the tail light is slightly higher, so they fly parallel to each other, and hence you're getting a red or light stripe above with the blinking light above and the constantly on searchlight underneath. Here's another example. It looks slightly different because the helicopter flew up and down a little bit, so it kind of bends the curve slightly, but it's basically the same thing. And again, confirmed photo of a helicopter at night. And even some of the photos we saw in the video, very famous one here from Lille, France, again, confirmed helicopter with a searchlight underneath. That's just how they look. And if you go to Google and you search for like long exposure helicopter at night, you find so many of these pictures, right? Which are literally confirmed helicopters looking exactly like the footage we've just seen. However, this footage is not a still image, because obviously if you have like long exposure, that only works for single photographs, right? You leave the lens open for a while and that stretches out the light. But if you're filming a helicopter, surely it would not look like this footage, right? Because again, the only reason why it looks like a cigar-shaped object or whatever is because the lens have been open. And this seems like a long exposure shot of a helicopter at night brought to life. Do you know what I mean? Brought into an actual moving image. So how could you possibly explain that? Surely the helicopter long exposure explanation falls flat. That wouldn't work, admittedly, right? So I've done my research on this. And what's really funny is, because when you look under these Reddit threads, right, and you read some of the comments, everyone is 100% on board with it. Everyone is like, yeah, that explains, like, that's definitely what it is, aliens. And even under this Wuhan, China video, people are like, well, this is the UFO that shut down an airport in China. People are breaking this incident down, right? This specific clip, they're breaking it down like in endless analysis and trying to make sense of it. And it's like, you're talking about Hangzhou and International Airport and this and that, it could have been this. Well, let me tell you guys what it is. Because the one thing that is mentioned nowhere under these threads, amongst these hundreds and hundreds of comments of saying, well, best footage I've ever seen, that's unexplainable, that's crazy, what could it possibly be, is that this footage was published on Vimeo by an account called Meat Department. Okay? And Meat Department are three, as far as I'm aware, Paris-based designers and creatives who often do hyper-realistic CGI videos. So for example, for Mr. Oizo, they did videos for that guy. So they published this video and I was like, okay, you know, there could be still doubts about that. But if you go to their account, right, and you look at all their work, you will find that not only did they release this video, which is called UFO in China, they also released the legendary Haiti UFO video. And the older generation amongst you guys will remember was this video that floated around 9 years ago. I think it was a bit more than 9 years ago. I think, what is it, 2007? Oh, it says it here. So in the description it says, this UFO Haiti was a social experiment posted on YouTube in 2007 under the username blah blah. After accumulating millions of views on YouTube, UFO Haiti made the headlines on CNN, Fox News, LA Times. So if you're saying, well, why would they fake footage like that and put it out there? It's a social experiment, dude. It sucks off views, obviously, and it's just funny. It's funny stuff, how gullible people are, and they believe it without questioning it. And here we are in freaking 2024. People are still believing it. You read these threads, not a single person is like, yeah, bro, that's like Meat Department. They put that together. It's CGI. And by the way, if you haven't seen this Haiti UFO video, that was debunked at the time. And I can really quickly break this down to you guys, because if you look at these two palm trees, left one and right one, they're identical. Do you see this? The way the palm leaves come off. They basically just forgot to spin their assets around. If they would have spun these palm trees around for their rendering, then it wouldn't have been as obvious. But there's a few more things. If you type in UFO Haiti debunked, you'll find videos. It was already debunked when it came out in 2007. But it's surely like an impressive piece of CGI, especially for the time it was made in. And so is this footage. Now, I don't know how they did it. There were some people that I saw in CGI forums speculating whether it's actually just a static photo, right? So it's a static photo of a long exposure helicopter sitting in the air. Then they added that little light that moves and the light beams that come from the object. And then they added the camera shake and the blurriness when you zoom in and out. So basically, we're just looking at a static photo. It's a static image that they use as a backdrop. They augment it with a bunch of stuff, and the camera movement kind of does the rest. But I don't know. It might as well be that the whole scene is CGI, that the whole thing was created in a computer. I don't know how they did it, but it's obvious that they created this piece of footage. Now, it still doesn't explain why the airport was shut down. Obviously, that's the case. It was shut down. And as we read earlier in this ABC article, some people were speculating that it was just a commercial airplane that was reflecting the light. Oddly, other people said that it may have been a rocket or a missile that was carrying something into space. And you know how missiles, sometimes you see it with SpaceX a lot, they leave this very impressive trail. So I don't know what that object was, because there is no footage. There is no official confirmed footage of what that object was that shut down Xiaoshan Airport. But what we do know is that the footage we debunked in this video is unrelated. Okay, it is not part of that specific sighting and incident. Then also, I guess it has to be mentioned that the Chinese government and their media are not exactly known to give prompt and accurate reporting. So there's also the possibility that maybe it did shut down, but the media amplified the story to generate more clicks or whatever it is. It's just an unreliable piece of information at this point, why that airport was shut down and what happened there. That I can't debunk. But that's just my take, okay? I mean, that Meat Department created this piece of footage, I think is undeniable. It's clear at this point, but maybe you have your own theory about Xiaoshan Airport in China. Maybe you want to tell me how horrible my pronunciation of Chinese words is. That you can leave all that down in the comments, okay? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. But guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown and debunk of this one specific incident. I didn't want to mix it in with other incidents because I feel like it's been really circulating on the internet in the past weeks and months for some reason, since it's like 2010 footage, but it's really been coming back to the surface, and not a single person that I've seen has linked it to Meat Department and their animation, and that's clearly where it should be linked to. So if you see it anywhere, please just comment under that video and say, dude, that's from Meat Department, okay? 3 friends in Paris making animations and CGI, okay? That's all it is. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button. I would greatly appreciate that. Subscribe for more. Hit up our Discord, okay? The link to that is down in the description. I'm hanging out there. Loads of other nice people hang out there. It's a lovely community. Not just for UFO debunking stuff. We talk about all kinds of stuff there. So, but join the Discord, smash like, hit subscribe, do the things. And I hope to see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves. I'm out. Bye.